Hello, welcome back to AGN Football for the Arsenal versus Aston Villa preview. Massive game, the Unai Emery derby. It's going to be exciting. We all know that man has a love for causing Arsenal pain. Now, we've got Marty back. Welcome back again for this Aston Villa preview. Great to have you on the channel once again.
Thank
And I can
God.
see you've got some new equipment, haven't you?
Well, thank you very much for having me, Adam. And yes, your senses are correct. But you actually missed out on it. It was actually I was giving it a test run on the previous show that we did the other night,
Oh, yeah.
the Tottenham post match, and
Yeah.
I was actually using it then, and I'm surprised you didn't pick up on it. But I hope it sounds good. It's crystal clear, and you can hear me all right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sounding great. Sounding cold,
Brilliant.
clear, and
Brilliant. Little upgrades,
unlike
Gone.
unlike you, I haven't got my trusty mic with me today.
Right.
Um, but you win some, you lose some.
You've got to
But
come correct, Adam, with all the equipment. But, I mean, one bit of equipment, works and the other bit, my light goes and that's it. So
yeah,
I'm here sat in the darkness. Well, I'm not in the darkness, but I'm shadowed, but it is what it is. It's
shadow.
how these things go. How are we doing anyway?
All good. And and
Good,
and
good, good, good.
leading swiftly on. You said
Yes.
sat in the shadows. Now Arsenal's permanent shadow seems to be that man, Unai Emery, who likes to cause pain to Arsenal. Now let's think about it. Since he left the club, how many times do you think he's beaten us since
He's
he left the
beaten
club?
us one, two, three, four, 5 times.
Correct.
I'm good, and I.
Very good. Very
Do you know?
good.
Do you know?
Yeah,
Do you know what games they were?
I do. The Villarreal one was the first
Yes,
one.
Villarreal. Yeah, that was the first one.
And then COVID Arsenal, that dreadful 0-0. Do you remember that
Yeah,
in the second leg? Oh,
yeah.
oh, snooze fest, but terrible game. We went
What was
out of
that?
the
The one where
competition.
Conte brought down Saka in the second half, the first half.
Possibly,
Should have been
possibly.
sent off.
Mm. Yeah, and I think both sides went down to 10 in the first leg as well.
Yeah, that's it. And in the second, he should have at Villa Park, but he didn't. The ref didn't give it. It was basically a cut. It was a nailed on red, but the ref turned around and said it wasn't far enough out to warrant a red card, even though it was the last man. That was just, I think, the real start of. Anyway, that's another
Oh,
story.
yeah, in the Villa game. Yeah,
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 yeah, no, absolutely. So he's beaten us with Villarreal twice.
yep, yep.
He's beaten us with Aston Villa 3 times. So he is
Yes.
a thorn, a permanent thorn or
Well, I mean,
shadow, as you put it.
you could potentially say that he is Arteta's nemesis.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly.
This
Um,
is is this the one that got away for Arteta? Has Arteta outmanaged the tactician wise? Has he managed? Well, he has. I mean, in the last game when we beat him 2-0, you could see what that meant. But Unai
mm,
Emery,
mm,
how much has he learnt from that? I mean, the interesting thing that I find really when I look at the Villa team is there was so much interest from us for Ollie Watkins last
mm,
season, and he literally looks. I mean, at that time, at the end of last season, I would have, if Arsenal went to sanction 60, 70 million quid for Ollie Watkins. I mean,
mm,
look, it's not my money, I get it, but if Arsenal went and sanctioned, 60, 70 million quid for
mm,
Ashley Young from Everton, I would
mm,
definitely be like, what are you doing buying the player for starters? No disrespect to him, but also paying that money for a player that's that old. It's ridiculous. But I wouldn't have batted an eyelid paying that sort of money for Ollie Watkins. And what I like about Ollie Watkins is he can play across the front three. He's a very, very versatile player in a situation like this that we've got at the moment. I think he'd be very, very handy. But since that game, he seems to have really fallen out of favour, actually, because
mm,
I think that was the turning point. He had two clear-cut chances, and you've got to say that was down to being clinical. The first one, which he drags past Raya's right post, was literally, I couldn't believe. I was sat right in front of that. I couldn't believe the net didn't bulge, and I was
mm.
sat there, and it was like, what? And then obviously the other
Mm,
one was down the other end when Raya made that amazing double save, which was absolutely
mm,
phenomenal. You know, the ball
mm,
goes to get, he puts it onto the bar, comes out, and then Watkins heads it. Basically, look, Raya was lucky with where Watkins put the ball. I get it, you know,
mm,
but it was a
mm.
fantastic. You know, that's the
It was.
top agility size of any top elite level goalkeeper is how they get up, they react, and they you know the second saves, the second balls, and yeah,
Mm,
he saved that fantastically. And then obviously Watkins was like, I mean, that would have at that point it would have leveled the game, I think. And then we
mm.
went on to win it, and that was it.
That's it. That's it. And it was very much unlike the Ollie Watkins of last season's game at the Emirates, that 2-0 win for Villa.
Oh, finish him.
That was,
That's that.
yeah, it was pantomime. Wasn't that a pantomime game? Imagine, you remember Unai Emery running down the touchline, almost frothing at the mouth because he was so happy that they'd scored that first goal. And then we're pushing for that equaliser. And Ollie Watkins, that lovely, gorgeous, delicious dinked finish. And it was delicious because
It was
although I'm an
unbelievable.
Arsenal fan, it was a delicious finish.
Do you know what
I've
the
never
man?
seen a player just dink. Oh, it was
Do you know what the
lovely.
maddest thing is? He's Ollie Watkins. I think it was his father. Ollie Watkins is an Arsenal fan, and Ollie Watkins' father was sat next to me. And Ollie Watkins at the end of that game actually came up to basically, well, not obviously me, his father, because he was by me, and I didn't know how to handle it. I was a bit like, oh, and then he was like, oh, he said, sorry, Dad, I didn't mean to, you know, but it had to be done. You know, because obviously he wanted, you know, he knew he just put the nail in the coffin. And I kind of half
Yeah.
wanted to get say, oh, Ollie, can I have a picture with you? But then I was like, you've just basically ruined our Premier League title chances. And then I was like, oh, do I want to say hello to him? But I was like, no, this keys is. But then I was like, oh, he's a gooner. And I was like, oh, and it was like a real conflict of interest and a real battle in my own head. But look, do you know, what? He actually seemed like a lovely lad, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you know what? I always thought, and I said this last season, I always thought we missed a trick with him because I think if the club had gone in for it for with reasonable money for him, he'd have said yes. And don't forget as well, he scored quite a few goals against Arsenal. Do you remember that diagonal shot against us
Yeah,
at Villa Park that he
yeah.
scored? Really
I was just,
nice diagonal
thought
finish.
I thought you were just about to say scored a few goals at Euros because I remember he come on in the Euros not long ago and he scored that
Mm,
goal, didn't he? Which changed
yeah,
things
yeah,
around. He's got the ability
yeah.
to do it. He's Unai. I think he's fallen out of favour with Unai Emery a little bit, and maybe
Seems to
because
be.
Unai Emery knows he's a gooner. That might be it. But I mean,
Maybe.
listen, this game. I mean, Villa have got Ramsey. They've got some. You know, they've got Tillemans. They've
Mm,
got some really interesting players. They're strong. They're dynamic. You know, even the likes of Matty Cash on their day can turn up and do something. One of the best goalkeepers arguably in the world in Martinez, and you know they can be really solid at the back. They can be hard to break
mm,
down, and sometimes they will let you come at. You know they won't they'll put a low block on you as it were, and they'll come and they'll sit behind the ball with 11 men, but then they'll
mm,
also look to take they'll much more look to take you apart a lot
mm,
quicker with the
mm,
balls, especially with Ramsey's pace is unbelievable, and the way that Geezer moves that ball through the midfield is phenomenal. You know, another raw top
yeah.
talent, and the finishers up front that they've got. You know, and again, it's let's see what sort of atmosphere turns up tomorrow at the Emirates. You know, I'd like to. That will be interesting to see because I remember on Wednesday night the atmosphere against Tottenham was absolutely electric. And I actually had some different people sat behind me that usually did, and they were really really, really vocal, and I loved it. He was like, I wish
Good.
everyone was
Yeah.
like this, and I wish everyone,
Yeah.
and that's how that's for me what football's about. And if it was like that, then that really does help the team. It really spurs them on, like we
It
saw
does.
again on Wednesday night when the players are like going, come on, come
It does.
on.
It does. It feeds them. It feeds them. That energy feeds what they're doing. And I think, that's the point that not to go back to Man United, because obviously we're here. We're just, beating Spurs in the North London derby on Wednesday. Tomorrow we're playing Villa. And, things are feeling good at the moment. But, I do feel like the electricity of the Emirates
Yeah,
always dictates how well the team does.
does mate, it
And I feel
does.
like we need to be doing it, and we need to be doing it consistently. It doesn't matter whether you're playing Spurs at 8 o'clock or Leyton Orient in the FA Cup on Saturday at 7:30. You've
Yeah.
got to just bring that noise. The players need it.
It's all these factors that play a huge part in professional football. It's like when you saw, look, as I say it, Tottenham played Tamworth on that 4G
Mm,
pitch. My daughter the other night on Tuesdays and Thursdays last night, she had trained just on a 4G pitch at Cobham, and
mm,
it's a fantastic pitch. But the way the ball actually doesn't, like you look at the Emirates, they sprinkle, they put sprinklers on the pitch, they water it so it's quicker, and the way the ball moves on these pitches is lightning fast. Those 4G pitches, and it's all these little things that make such a difference in
mm,
in top class, in football, full stop. Whether it's
mm.
slight injuries, whether, weather does, the pitch, the surface, I mean, everyone laughed at Arteta, I remember the other week with the Manchester, with the ball. But the balls do, mate. Balls move differently. I remember years ago, I think there was a World Cup and Adidas bought out a ball. And
Jabulani.
the goalkeepers were complaining that it moved too
Mm,
much. And the ball did move. I mean, it did
yeah.
actually move a lot more. And it made it a lot harder. If you're a goalkeeper and you're looking to catch the ball there and the
Mm.
ball is actually landing there, that's the difference between it potentially bouncing out of your hands or you catching it.
100%. Yeah, I remember the ball itself as well in the 2010 World Cup, the Jabulani it was, and it was
That's
the ball
it.
the ball moved like
Adam,
that.
you
It
are
was like
actually like a football encyclopedia, aren't you?
very kind, very kind. Yeah, I remember it. We went out, didn't we, to Germany, and there was that. Oh, thanks very
Lampard
much,
hit the
Sepp
bar, yeah?
Blatter. Yeah, do you remember Mark
Yeah,
Lawrenson said, "Thanks very much, Sepp Blatter," when
yeah,
because the goal wasn't given, obviously.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That was
but
about a foot over the line. I remember that.
oh,
But
yeah,
anyway,
it was
back to the
crazy.
game back to the game tomorrow. And back to the
Yeah,
game tomorrow. Look, look, Adam, how do you think? How can you see this game being
mm,
played out at the Emirates?
really good question. And my thinking on this is actually very clear cut. So I think we need to score early. I do.
Yeah,
The reason I think we need to score early is if you look at the template of that game last season, Trossard, I'm sure you remember it, Marty. Trossard had that gilt-edged opportunity. The ball came in, Trossard hit it, and for all the world, the whole of the Emirates thought he'd score. And the goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, made that save with I think it was with his legs or with his foot.
yeah,
He made a
yeah,
save, but he had no right to save that. Trossard was about, I don't know, 6 yards out.
yeah,
Should have absolutely buried it. And that unfortunately dictated the rest of the game.
yeah,
So where I'm worried is if we don't go up early, the template of that game could be repeated
yeah.
in this one. Um, so that's my big concern. I think we have to score in the first half for sure.
I think you're spot on there. I think, listen, there's the problems we've got in a minute. We've got four attacking players in Havertz, Sterling, Martinelli, and Trossard that are fit
Mm,
currently. And I think, I've said before that obviously if we sign anyone, it's not going to be in time now. I mean, if you sign someone now, they're not going to be fit to play on a pitch tomorrow. It's as simple as that.
no,
So,
no, absolutely true.
um, it's finishing our chances. And as you saw on Wednesday night against Tottenham, as you saw on Sunday against Manchester United, we are having problems putting the ball in the back of the net, i.e. in both of those games. I think it would be safe to say that we could have won both of those games 5-1 if we'd have had how say Gyökeres is playing at the moment for Sporting Lisbon, or how Isak is playing. I mean, Isak put 2 goals in on Wednesday night against I think it Leicester for Newcastle, and he put a goal in against us, posted that clinical finishing. You've got to say, if we've got that guy that's just banging form, looking at just striking that ball, where this game needs to get, I think, killed off a bit. Saying that a bit sooner. We have these problems. I mean, when we were 2-1 up against Tottenham the other night, we nearly let them in at the end.
Yeah,
With at the moment, with being 4 points, we've done so well with the criticism we've had to be now within 4 points of Liverpool.
Mm,
We've got Nottingham Forest and Arsenal and Liverpool in this title race, essentially as I see it at the moment. Newcastle and Chelsea, I think, are just a bit too inconsistent, even though they showed signs of form and showed slight signs of consistency, but they're just dropping out of it with some of their results, with some of the teams
mm,
that they've played. Now, I just and obviously, yeah, Newcastle there and thereabouts. I just think that it's getting these points. That's the one thing, getting these points in this game to then keep the pressure on Liverpool. What we don't want to do is after picking up those points against Spurs and being 4 points and then drop off again.
no,
And
be a
that's the
travesty.
thing. Yeah.
It would be a travesty. Right. Well, let's just dive into this then. Score predictions. We did them for Spurs. Let's do them for Villa. For me, it's a really hard one to call. Do you know what? My heart says 2-1, but my head says 1-1, unfortunately. And I have to be honest because I can't come on here and be dishonest. I think with our strikers and our forward positions the way they are, I think Villa are a very different side to Spurs. And I think they're going to be a much tougher ask, I really do. So I think I'll go with my heart because I'm Arsenal through and through. So I'll go 2-1, but I can see possibly a 1-1 draw.
I like what you say. With my head, my head tells me sensibly 2-1. My heart
Mm,
says 3-1, but
okay.
then because I want it to be 3-1. But
Yeah.
well, no, I want it to be 3-0. Really, I mean, I want us to. I mean, it's so exciting. But it's like this, this like when we go 1-0 down, it's like, oh come on, or when we go 1-0 up, and then we concede and these goals.
Mm,
But this is
mm,
what we love about Premier League football. It's edgy, you see
it
stuff,
is.
and until the game is played on Saturday, then we're not going to know, and that's the truth.
There we go. Absolutely. So, look, for everybody watching, like, subscribe, get your comments in, 3-punch combination. And if you know, you know, I wish you a good rest of your evening. If you know, you know. Um, and Marty, thank you again for coming on. It's been a pleasure, as always, to have you on the channel. And I look forward
Thank
to
you,
seeing
mate.
you at the
Thank you.
Emirates tomorrow.
Yeah, mate. I will definitely look forward to seeing you there after the game, mate. It'll be a fantastic game, and I can't wait. Saturday's here, the end of the week is here, and yeah, we'll hopefully get a result. We'll do these villains.
Yeah. Come on, Arsenal, beat those villains, and I'll see you all very soon for the next one.
Peace out.